So, as you can see what Michael Scott is, probably what we're all feeling. Welcome to the 5 Reasons Post-Up, the post-game show brought to you by the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Royal is having some technical difficulties, so we're working to get him here. Hopefully we see him a little bit later. But for now, I'm your host, Jonathan. We got a pretty decent squad right here, right? We got the Skyforce, we got Ariel, we got Gad, we got Brian. Horrible effort from the Heat tonight. I don't even feel like talking about it, so I'm going to toss it to you, Ariel. How did you feel about the game tonight?
I don't want to talk about it either. That was disgusting. All I have to say is, ew, that sucked. I don't know how much analysis y'all are expecting on here. I feel like that game was kind of out of the norm for this team. They've been defending really well. Like even in the last game, on the second night of a back-to-back, on the fifth game in 7 nights, I believe, they lost the game in Memphis, but at the very least, the defense was pretty good. Memphis missed some shots, but I thought the defense was good. They held them to 85 points. Tonight just kind of felt like an absolute aberration. Definitely there were a lot, and I mean a lot, of defensive breakdowns on the Heat's end, but the Pacers are not some great offensive team. There are going to be nights in this league where, teams just get hot and it's contagious and everybody makes everything, and that's just kind of what tonight felt like. I tweeted this out towards the end of the game, and I'm just going to reiterate on here. I don't want to hear one person saying we can't trade Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, or Kelly Olynyk. I don't want to hear it. It's bullshit. They played like shit. They haven't been particularly good as of late, and I don't want to hear it. This is a talent. A team that's not extremely talented. They don't have the talent, in my mind, to go toe-to-toe with the top teams in the East. So what I would do is I would sell off on those guys. I'd get better defensively because they're already really good at that, tonight notwithstanding, and go forward with that because that's something that translates into the playoffs.
Yeah, right now we're not doing anything that this Heat team is doing on the regular season doesn't seem like it'll translate into the playoffs. Like you said, the defense is going to be one of those things that it has to be. Thanks, Belinsky Pierre, 499, saying we had these same problems during the winning streak. You can never get too comfortable during the Heat. I do disagree a little bit because tonight we were playing with a faster pace and we were following Indiana, right? We were playing to their pace, and I didn't like that at all. And like Ariel was saying, we just weren't doing the things defensively, and we were giving up a lot of points, which is kind of anomaly. Yeah, Tyler was playing like a trash can. He was hitting shots, but every time he would make a shot, he would give that up on defense. Before we get into more of my stuff, I want to get into Gad's stuff and see what you saw in the game. So, Gad, what did you see from tonight's game, or a disappointing performance from everybody?
So this, obviously we've been playing really well defensively, but you keep looking up at the end of every game and it's like, yo, we're shooting under 30% from three again and again and again and again. Our best shooter, Duncan Robinson, now has had 15 games, 15 of 41, where he shoots under 30% from three. So that is 37% of the time he's trash. Like, unplayable, really, really bad. And you can't have that. I think the problem with this team, amongst a lot of other things, because there's a lot of different problems, I think our defense is being masked a little bit by how great Jimmy Butler is. And when you don't get one of those virtuoso performances from Jimmy, you see where this team really lies. It's that you have a lot of guys that are not playing fantastic. But my biggest problem with this team is we are a bad three-point shooting team. Statistically speaking, we have shot 34.7% on the year, and we're shooting 32.9 on this since Jimmy Butler came back from injury. So even when we've been playing well, we can't hit shots. We're just not a good shooting team. That's a problem. Spo has to do something in order to adjust. Don't rely on the shooters. Play inside out. You saw it early when Bam was attacking the rim, when Jimmy was attacking the rim, even Tyler was attacking the rim, although he missed a ton of layups later on in the game. When they attack the rim, they are a much better team because you're not relying on these shots that are just low percentage, and you're not a good team at shooting the shots that you're shooting. So I think schematically they're going to need a bit of a change. I think offensively, they just do not have enough talent right now. We have 4 of the most inconsistent guards in the entire world. It was a really, really bad game. I don't wear glasses when I hoop, and I was hooping today, so I'm wearing contacts. That's it. But I am pissed, so I guess it goes hand in hand. The last 2 games have really been bad. I'm excited to see how they bounce back on Sunday. You can learn a lot from a team based on the bounce back after they get blown out, but Today was trash, and there's no excuses for anybody.
Yeah, I mean, just one of the most horrible performances, not only defensively, offensively. Just looking at the numbers, we allowed the Pacers to shoot 58% from the field, 55% from the three. We gave up 21 fast break points. And on our hand, we were shooting 44% from the field, only 26% from behind the line. I want to thank Mr. Incredible for the 549 euro. Why are we leaving Hero out of trades? I think the thing with Hero is we're not going to trade somebody that could potentially be our third or fourth best player for just a random role player, right? We definitely want to move Hero, but if we're going to move Hero, it's going to be for a Beal, a Levine, one of those top tier kind of players. Brian, let's get to you, man. What did you see from the horrible performance?
Sorry, may I just say one thing on that?
Yeah.
I don't have any inside info. Let me preface what I'm going to say with that, but don't be so certain that Hero is completely off the table. Let me just say that.
Fair point. All you, Brian.
Yeah, so tonight was just one of those really, really bad nights, man. I mean, I think that we do have to keep the context that, these guys are obviously all professional basketball players. And, when you're the top tier talent in the world or top tier talents in the world, you're going to have nights where you get really, really hot. And, we've seen that the Heat have typically been a really good defense. And this could have just been one night where, people who are the best at their craft just happen to be in that flow and things look really, really bad. The thing that concerns me is the offense all season has been very poor. Like just, being straightforward, the offense has not been good. And if you're looking ahead to the Heat playing a team in the playoffs where, they can't rely on the defense, let's say they're playing the Nets, right? And, the defense can't stop a Kevin Durant or James Harden or Kyrie Irving, right? They just don't have the offense to even keep it close. So unless they're playing these really, really close games, it just feels like they just don't really have anything for, whoever they're playing. And we saw that tonight, it's basically Jimmy or bust essentially, we can't rely on Goran to carry the offense in the fourth quarter every night. And it feels like, coming into the season, the conventional wisdom would have said that things would have been different. Like this team would have been pretty good offensively and, not great defensively, but, it just feels like we're not getting that production from the guys that we would expect on offense. Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn. And, I think going forward, that's going to be something that we really, really have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, he just doesn't have enough help, right? And like you're saying, we don't have the requisite talent. So if we're going down 10 or 12 points, we can't just make a comeback like that because we're more reliant on defense. So we have to keep the game close, at least try to hold it, to a manageable fourth quarter game because we're not, Brooklyn or one of these heavy offensive teams where we can score 40, 50 points in a quarter, right? We're always keeping it down low. So what I thought about the game is I thought that we started off pretty decent, right? Bam came out. He scored, I think, the 8 first points of the game, and I was just really excited to see that. But after that, everything just seemed to level off. We just stopped moving the ball. Tyler and Goran just were doing absolute trash in the first half. And all game long, we were trapping, we were blitzing. And I don't know why we were doing that because we're going against a team that has 6 or 7 guys that average in double figures, right? So why are we doing that to a team that has a bunch of guys that can spread you out and beat you? So I wasn't sure why we were doing that. We were giving up every corner open three. Malcolm Brogdon went like 106 for 106 for these corner threes tonight, and he just absolutely torched us from downtown. But let's get into some of the guys for the Heat because there was one guy that, everybody's thinking about. Trade deadline's coming up. I'm going to get to you, Ariel, because you talked a lot about this, and you're the kind of the captain of the Trade Duncan fan club right now. So what do you feel about what Duncan gave you tonight, and what do you feel about his future moving forward?
Let's have a look at his numbers real quick before I speak. So he had 6 points. He was 2 of 9 from the field, 2 of 8 from 3. Essentially more of what we've been seeing pretty frequently with Duncan, or at least more frequently than we'd like. As compared to last season, teams have figured out how to defend him. Teams know that the Heat are constantly looking for the dribble handoff. Every time Bam gets the ball, a couple steps inside the 3-point line or near the 3-point line, he is literally looking around to find where Duncan is, and then he'll hold the ball out for like 6 seconds until Duncan runs all the way around the court, brings his man with him, and it takes forever, and teams defensively know that it's coming. So if I'm the Heat, he is nowhere near untouchable in my eyes. I think that, the fact that you're going to have to pay him in the offseason is something that absolutely should be a heavy factor under consideration when thinking about whether or not you include him in certain deals, because, Joe Harris and Davis Bertans set the market for what shooters, especially shooters at that size, at that position, are going to get paid. And so if you I personally am not at all comfortable paying Duncan 18, 20 mil per. I feel like that's the move. That's the kind of signing you make once your championship roster is fully assembled. And that's the piece that, kind of keeps everything together and puts you over the top. I would absolutely look to move him. I can't pay a guy who relies on a guy like Bam Adebayo or any other player specifically for so much of their offense. He doesn't have any counters to it. When defenses crowd the dribble handoff, he can't really get into inside the three-point line or into the paint and make mid-range jumpers or floaters in the lane. So there's really nothing there. If he's not making threes, he kills your offense. I know he has a decent amount, quite a bit of gravity to him, and he pulls the defense with him. But at the end of the day, it's a make or miss league. You got to make shots. So there's a lot of deals out there that I think, could potentially make sense. I, again, don't know anything. I don't know specifically what deals he might be in or not be in. I'm just thinking from a fan's perspective. There's a lot of moves that I would look to make. I would not hesitate to put him in a deal because it's just not cutting it, and I don't want to pay him.
Absolutely. I mean, why are you going to pay a guy that doesn't produce 1/3 of the games during the season? I think Gad was one person who mentioned that stat. 1/3 of the games during the season where he's basically not producing. And if he's not producing offensively, hitting 4 or 5 threes, he's not anything on offense, right? And he doesn't do anything on defense. So he's just a total negative, total bum out there. If you had to tell me to choose between paying Duncan $18 million or none $10 million, I probably might go with none. Gad or Brian, do you guys have anything to add to the Duncan Robinson experience, or you want to talk about Bam Adebayo? Because he started off really well, but just kind of gave you more of the same later in the game.
I'll let Brian go. Brian, whatever you got.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with Ariel that, Duncan Robinson has an extremely valuable skill set. I want to say that when he's on, he's one of the best shooters in the league. The question is, are you going to pay $20 million for that? I think that if you can get a JJ Redick or a Wayne Ellington and get 80% of that production for, a fraction of the price,
you'll get the same production. He's playing like shit.
Well,
Yes, sir.
Motherfuck this team, bro. Honestly, dog, my computer is acting like shit because this team played like trash. I heard most of what you guys were talking about, and you all were spot on with talking about how terrible this team has been. Well, eventually the way we played caught up to us tonight, and I think that's what happened. We were horrible defensively. We were horrible defensively. We were even worse offensively. We cannot shoot. I didn't come over here to host. I want Jonathan to continue to host because I want to make sure that I keep myself together. I'm not a cursed Potterhead, but yeah, you go ahead and continue to flow the conversation. I'll just jump in whenever you throw it to me, Jonathan.
Yeah, no, so I was just saying that I think that the Heat really, really need to consider, can we get a guy in free agency for way cheaper that'll essentially do the same thing? I think the answer is yes, but I also don't have any inside information. As far as Bam goes, it felt like he was on his way in the first quarter. He had 8 points. I was like, oh, this might be a 30, 40 point night. And from then, after he got a second foul, it just kind of, there. He ended up with 28 and 5, I believe. So a pretty decent night statistically, but it just didn't feel like he had the impact on the game that it seemed like he was trending towards. He only played 26 minutes, so maybe some of that is still due to injury and him finding his way back. But it was a little disappointing that, versus a team with a guy that he hates in Miles Turner. Just want to mention that that he just didn't have a bigger impact on the game.
Yeah, after having 12 points and with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter, you'd feel like he was on that path, right? I want to thank HM for the $5 donation, saying tonight is a perfect example of why I was against paying Bam early. He's not playing with the same hunger we saw in the bubble. While I agree with you that he's not playing with the same hunger that in the bubble, you have to remember that Bam is still a young player, right? He's still growing into this role as an alpha. he's still growing into his thing, and he's not getting paid that max money till really next year. It's not going to hit our cap till next year. So although I don't agree with you, and although I agree with you that he's not playing up to his level, he's deserving of that max money. He's still giving you a max level production, and he's going to be a top 10 player in the NBA within the next 2 or 3 years. So that's not even a question at that point. So Roy, I want to get to you a little bit with Bam. How did you feel like Bam did tonight? Because he started off great, like Brian said, but after that, he just kind of shit the bed.
I feel like Bam, we already know what we're going to get from Bam from night to night at this point. It's kind of like there are pockets of aggression, but it's never a sustained effort. So we never get the whole game of Bam being aggressive. Like there were plays where you really appreciated the time that he got caught on the switch with Malcolm Brogdon, backed him down into the post, hit the little jump hook over him. And it's kind of like, yeah, that's what you should do all the time. But then in the second half, he disappears and you don't see that. So from Bam, it's kind of like you get what you expect. The numbers are going to be there. It's just the times that he chooses to be aggressive. Sometimes they're not in the most impactful moment when he can greatest impact the game. So, I mean, he was cool tonight. I don't agree that he's not worth the money or that he's not a max player. That's just ridiculous to me. But it's just kind of like he's young, but the expectation level he set for himself pushes his bar so far beyond the way that he's playing that, you know what I mean, it's hard to come away from a game not disappointed in what he did or didn't do.
I also want to throw in a quick comment that I think Bam played well enough in his 26 minutes to, to win most games. Like I think that this loss goes beyond Bam not playing up to what we may expect from a max player. Like he had a good game, so he could have done more, sure, but this isn't at all on him.
No.
I mean, we gave up 137 points, and of course, it's not all on him.
Yeah,
it was all on our defense.
My point, though, yeah, this is more of a team, not defense. Yeah,
I also
allowing
think
open corner threes.
I don't know if you guys agree. I really feel like Bam is the kind of player that we'll see, more development and more so than his development, we'll see his strengths shine much more so if and when he's on a team that's better. The better the team that he's on, the more you'll see him be able to do the things that he's best at and what he's elite at, which is, guard all over the place, get on the boards, bother ball handlers, play the weak side, play the passing lanes, and then give you some relief points sometimes from the mid-range, rebound the ball, offensive rebounds, all that stuff. But I think you would see it much more if you were on a much better team. And so that's part of why I think it's imperative for this team to acquire, better talent and gear up for a playoff run this year, because for sure there's a lot of time left on the Bam timeline. Right, there might be another build in 3 or 4 years that better fits Bam's timeline, but this current build needs to fit Jimmy's timeline, and I don't know how many years that Jimmy has left at this level.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank Caleb Isma for the $4.99 donation. Is it me, or does Robinson not want to shoot contested anymore? There was a stat that made more defended like that. He made more defended when he was guarded like that. Strus will let it fly when he, or defend when he's cutting. Gad, I'll get to you with this one. Answer this real quick because we also have a $50 donation we'll get to in a second.
Sir.
So before we getting into that one, what did you feel about Duncan? Do you feel like he's hesitating too much, or do you feel like he's doing what he's supposed to do and move the ball more?
Here's the thing. I think he's being used as, I don't think the way that he's being used right now is beneficial to the offense, honestly, because we wait for Duncan to get open. He's not a quick twitch athlete. He's not getting open super easy. He's running through 2, maybe even 3 screens to get open. You're killing the possession. So you're waiting 7 to 8 seconds just for Duncan to get a shot off, and then he's hesitant about taking the damn shot. So then you're really looking at an offense that is just relying on a guy that doesn't even want to shoot the damn ball 15 seconds into the shot clock. He's taking that shot. So I think they just need to get more ball movement. I understand off-ball movement is good in the NBA, but geez, I think Spo has to adjust because they're not shooting up to par that makes this offense work. It's not happening. This is not, we're 41 games into the season. It's not like, oh, this is just a bad streak. This is who we are. We're a bad shooting team right now. You have to find other ways to make that work. So I think just not completely ditch the dribble handoff, but you have to do something else. Because Bam, you see it when you kind of give him space and give him some room to work, he can actually go. And Spo, since I'm already on the topic, hell, is he run Duncan, Goran, Hero lineups.
Dude.
Those are the dumbest lineups ever to me. Defensively, it is horrible. TJ McConnell and Doug McDermott was going to town on them, right?
Yep.
It makes no sense. And then Goran isn't getting downhill. Tyler was at least trying to, but he couldn't really hit layups tonight. And Duncan is just running around the perimeter. What, like, at least put Nunn in there because he's trying on defense. I'm not saying Nunn played perfect. He had some moments. He also played terrible to start the game. But damn, like those three are. We cannot keep playing that with confidence. We really just can't. I would imagine the Pacers probably scored like 60 other points tonight when that trio was in because they played horrible defense and their offense was not good. I was not a fan of what we did a lot of tonight, but those two things in specific, I think, are definitely a place in which we need to improve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to get to the donos real quick. First of all, thanks, Dan, the Film Gent, for the $5 donation. Next time, leave a comment, brother, so we can at least answer something for you. And thanks, Richard Cambo, for the $15 dono. Gave an extra due to the excellent Royal intro. Any pro wrestling fan loves it. It makes me hype every single time he comes in. So, honestly, it struck to me how much worse the defense is when none sits for Tyler or Goran. The latter two were defensive train wreck today. Look at the Indy bench points. I was looking at it, 60 points for the Indiana bench. They outscored us in every single quarter. We got outscored every single quarter. Ariel, talk to me about what you saw from the Heat defense today.
I felt like there were a ton of breakdowns, though I thought that earlier in the game that the game plan was pretty sound and they were trying to do what they had been doing and been successful with defensively over, the last stretch of games where a lot of trapping, a lot of pressure in the front court, not so much in the back court, but the Pacers made the correct skip passes, and then their guys just made shots. Like they're, I think, 17th in the NBA in 3-point percentage, 20th in the NBA in 3-point makes per game. So they're not a great 3-point shooting team. They're very, very mediocre. But like Brian was saying earlier, these guys are all NBA players. They can get hot. And it was just one of those nights where they were all hitting. Like TJ McConnell, I think, was the absolute ultimate random scrub heat killer tonight. I don't know if
he's not a scrub though. Like he's
not a total scrub. No, he's not a total scrub. But I mean, this was one of his, like, defensively, he terrorized Goran and the Heat's ball handlers. Like I felt like he had 5 steals on Goran Dragic alone. He was all over the place, and it just gave the Pacers more possessions. I bet I don't know what the possession count was for tonight, but if I looked at it, I would bet the Pacers had substantially more overall possessions than the Heat have. And when your shooters are shooting like that and you're getting more possessions, you're gonna win most of those games.
Wait, time out.
Y'all talking about MJ McConnell?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead,
Ariel, to your point, the Heat actually took more shots than the Pacers tonight.
What? How?
I was surprised at that too.
They took 3 more shots.
That makes sense given
That's
their
shocking.
shooting percentage. Yeah. But that's
Wow.
yeah, that's insane.
I'm astounded. How did that happen?
They were crazy efficient.
Is he from
Your internet is not crazy efficient. So Slime Khan said
You're just gonna get close.
Slime Khan said that TJ McConnell leads the league in steals. That's only because Jimmy Butler hasn't played enough games to qualify. If Jimmy Butler did, then Jimmy Butler would lead the league in steals by a wide margin. I don't know if you guys read this dono, but it came up. So I want to thank Belinsky Pierre for the $4.99 dono. He said we need to stop getting attached to some of these players. Honestly, Bam and Butler, the only untouchable piece. We need to shake up this roster. I think that's been a sentiment all season long in terms of like us needing to upgrade. I think now it's becoming more apparent that, the hole at the 4, we kind of addressed that with Ariza. I kind of like what I saw from Ariza a little bit tonight.
Sure.
And it looked like, he's a solution, somebody who can plug in there, and we have additional depth at the 4 rotation. At this point, I feel like we need a goddamn scorer. Like we need somebody who can go out on the court and get buckets, and we don't have that guy on this roster outside of Jimmy. Like Bam is not a go get buckets guy. Tyler is, but Tyler needs so much help to get a bucket. He needs a screen. Duncan can get buckets if everything is perfect. Like everything has to be working well for Duncan to get his.
Not even then. Recently, this dude is just freaking wide open.
You remember the open looks he had at the end of the last game, man?
Yeah, like he had open looks in this game that he wasn't hitting. Dragic used to be our get a bucket guy, but he's getting older and he can't get by defenders anymore with the same consistency. Like we need a guy who consistently get us buckets, and we don't have that.
There's a guy in Houston.
Tell him.
I think
But
we can do
careful,
it.
you say that on Twitter, they're going to tell you can't trade Kendrick Nunn or Duncan Robinson or any of these dudes for Victor Oladipo, even though they're all expiring contracts that you're going to either essentially have to choose which to pay this summer any fucking ways.
Guys that were undrafted that we all should feel confident that he can find again. But that's just me.
That's a fair point, 100%. And I want to get to this next dono. Belinsky Pierre saying we need to stop getting attached to some of these players, honestly.
Wait, isn't that the one that we just read?
We can read it again because it's a good one.
Oh, my bad.
Read it one more time.
Well, Bam and Butler, the only touched up piece. We need to shake up this roster. And I mean, I think we all agree that we need to shake up this roster. If you have sentimental value and you're trying to hold on to Duncan because of what he did last year, you like Nunn because, he got second in Rookie of the Year voting. It doesn't matter now. That stuff doesn't matter now. These guys are regressing to the mean. Opposing teams are knowing how to play us. So there's no point of keeping these guys and paying them. Like Ariel's saying, these guys aren't expiring contracts. Why are you going to bring these guys and pay them to be middle of the pack players, if that, or if you're talking about Duncan Robinson, if he's not hitting threes, he's bottom 10% of the league as far as production goes. So I don't know why you would keep any of these players and pay them if they're not producing to the league. As an undrafted player, they're great finds, but paying them as a $10 to $20 million player, you don't pay those guys. You trade for the better talent, and it's just smarter to do that. Mm-hmm. Let's get into the trade deadline coming up. You guys, is there anything else you guys want to talk about this game? Because this game was absolute shit. Like
HM had
one. Let me read that.
Yeah, there's also one from Dan the Film Gent that we hadn't read yet.
Oh, well, you get Dan the Film Gent and then gotta get HM because that's one of Gad's favorite commenters. I don't know which one. I didn't see the comment. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I just want to know why Spo substituted Bam, who was hot in the first quarter, and replaced him with KZ. That's ridiculous. I tried to put a comment. Oh. First of all, don't be disrespectful to KZ. Second, KZ is essentially playing the backup five. So, I mean, Bam went out at his regular time. Like, this isn't something new. Plus, he's coming. This is like his second game back from injury, or second or third.
Third.
Yeah, so third. So I think he's still trying to work him back to his normal set of minutes. I don't know what exactly that comment means. Like, it's supposed going to play Bam 40 minutes right out the gate. Obviously, we've seen the trend of Spo trying to see what he has in KZ as of late. So I don't see what exactly that has to do with anything. This is pretty normal stuff.
Real quick, can I address that last comment that was up there? I just saw it in the chat as well. It says, it's by Talking Movie, says Oladipo is as inefficient as Hero and Nunn. He would be an offensive disappointment, but would definitely help our defense. Half of that is correct. The first half, where he's as inefficient as Hero and Nunn, sure, currently he is, but you're telling me that he's in the same situation in Houston where he either has to be the best player on offense most nights, or at the very least, the second best player on offense almost every night, would be the same as if he were in Miami playing next to Bam, Jimmy, and what they've got, because it wouldn't be the same. Eric Spoelstra would use him much better, and a lot of the offensive burden would be taken off of his shoulders playing next to those guys. So don't look at his percentages and his efficiency numbers. Look at the eye test. Look at how he moves on the court, and then try to, then you'll know what kind of player he translates to in Miami's system.
Also, we all know that Depot doesn't want to be in Houston, so I think the level of production is going to be different there versus a place that he has been wanting to be in for years. I think we can expect a reasonable uptick in his efficiency in Miami.
Okay, so we have HM's comment. I want to get to this next 499 dono as well, because that's also a comment that I would like to comment on. But anyways, Ariza plus Iggy make me feel better about the four. Can the combination of Olynyk, Duncan, and maybe Nunn bring back that capable scorer? Maybe Lonzo or Depot. I would absolutely do a package of some sort involving 2 or 3 of those guys in order to get a player like a Victor Oladipo, because yes, he's been inefficient, but like Ariel just said, he's going to improve in a better offense. Like, we give people the benefit of the doubt that the offense was playing worse without Jimmy Butler. Like Kelly Olynyk, for example, he shoots 40% with Jimmy Butler in the lineup. He's still shooting like 32% on the year. He is what he is. Like, if you're going to rely on other players and give other players that aren't on the team also the benefit of the doubt, like Jay Crowder played better with Jimmy last year. Iggy actually played really well with Jimmy last year. Like, Jimmy just makes players better. So I think he could do the same thing for Victor Oladipo. I'd be totally open. That's why I named myself. Oh, no, I don't know how to point on this damn thing. March 25th. That's the trade deadline. Hopefully this team makes some moves, because I know damn well if we keep the same exact team, it is going to be ugly in a playoff series when you can't shoot threes. And most often you cannot stop a good team from hitting threes. So it is going to be ugly. And then where's that other donation? There we go. Okay, I'm going to read this one as well. None is better and does more than Hero, so why we never mention him in a trade? I think the reason is because Hero is a cost-controlled asset that hypothetically, if he were to hit his ceiling, you could keep in Miami for the next, 6 years, as opposed to Nunn, who is due for a contract at the end of this season. So the fact that he's expiring and he could play a bigger role on another team is probably why. But Nunn's playing defense. Offensively, his shot has fallen off, but that's the only reason why, I think.
I mean,
Sell
also
high
Nunn is
on
5 years older.
Yeah, sell high on Nunn. He's not going to get much better than what he is.
You got to play it like a stock market. You got to buy low on these players. We got these players. We got Duncan and Nunn for absolutely nothing. And for us to not want to trade them for an Oladipo or for Alonzo Ball is absolutely idiotic to me. It does not make sense why you can pick up some trash off the floor and you don't want to sell it for a piece of gold. Like, it does not make sense to me. It just absolutely makes no sense. Let's get a little bit into Trevor Ariza because we saw a little bit into him. What any of you guys want to talk about what you saw? Because I like the ball movement. He was flowing really well. I feel like although he wasn't really hitting his shots, he still had a pretty decent place. How did you guys feel about what Trevor Ariza did tonight?
He played a whole lot for somebody who hasn't played in a year. Like, he played a lot. He played a lot more. He got a lot more run than I thought he would. And I think that's just because he wasn't a negative out there on the court. Like, he was solid. And I think for somebody who just coming in, just learning the system or whatever, you could tell that he's a pro. Like, he knows where he was supposed to be. He wasn't late on rotations or anything like that. He didn't wow you with his production, but he was solid. And I think that's better than what we've been getting from players who have been a net negative at that position. And so I like what I saw. Hopefully, as he continues to grow, you'll see him be able to pick his spots better on offense. But tonight, I think it was a good showing for his first game to be able to come in there and not completely blow the money. Yeah, so Richard Campbell with the $5 dono, thank you. He said, what ceiling, though? Tyler's the worst defender on this team and has the third worst true shooting percentage on the roster. Got to extend Hero after next year. Not much time.
Years. You don't have to extend him after next year.
Also, he's 21, so he has a ceiling. Like, we expect some struggles, but he's 21.
Then there's a pretty high skill level there, if we're being honest. Like, he's not playing the way that we want him to play, but you can see there are tools there that at the very least you can convince yourself into believing that within the right development and under the correct coaching staff and the skills coaches that he can develop into at the very least a good player. Maybe not a great player. But probably a good player.
You done got You got the last two donos.
Okay, just let me give an opinion on it. Someone can read it.
Go for it. I'll read it and you give the opinion.
Yes.
So SRT Dre, thank you for the $1.99 dono. He says Bam comes back and the defense gets worse. Why, Gad?
Because, like we said before, they stopped the whole switching everything thing when Bam wasn't in there. I'm not saying this is on Bam. I'm not saying it's not on Bam. I don't know the conversations that they have in that locker room or their X's and O's and how they execute the switches. But when they switch, and the Pacers were going to it all night, you get Bam on Brogdon. And then it is just easy. You have Goga Bitadze lining up with Goran Dragic. Goran's 35. He doesn't box out anymore. He's not going to do anything there. So, like, that's the problem with Bam. I don't know where that problem is rooted. I don't know if it's on the defensive scheme. I don't know if it's Spo loving how much Bam can switch. But, yeah, that is quite literally the problem. There is much more switching, and it leads to a lot of holes in our defense because as good as the team defense may be, individually, we do not have many good defenders, especially at the guard position. We don't have really any good defenders at the guard position.
Another causality of Bam coming back is that Kelly Olynyk is worse. Like, Kelly Olynyk is I mean, I don't know how I don't want to make too grand of an assumption based off of such a small sample size, but it's not really a small sample size. Kelly Olynyk played better when Bam was out. And ever since Bam has came back, we haven't seen anything remotely close to what we seen when Bam was out. Oh, yeah, Ariel, I feel like you're the perfect person to talk about this.
Get Kelly Olynyk off the team now. I'm off the train. I was trying to, reverse jinx him, mojo jojo him into playing better. It worked for a little bit, and now he's back to being the double agent that he is. That Danny Ainge owns the compromising photos of him, whatever it is. So get him out of here. He's expendable as hell. You can find another Kelly Olynyk or somebody else that can give you a good enough facsimile of what Kelly Olynyk does. You can, get Nemanja Bjelica with the traded player exception. You can bring in LaMarcus Aldridge off the buyout market. Kelly is probably better than those players right now. It's not a massive drop-off. Get him out of here.
I just wonder how much Kelly would even play in the playoffs too. Like whatever his regular season production is, thank you. But you saw last year, like they go away from him in the playoffs, and that I don't think that'll change. The formula that they had last year worked. If they can try to get back to that, I think they will.
Well, they want to switch. They want to switch everything, and that's why they brought in Trevor Ariza. A, he was super cheap, but B, he lets them. He unlocks a lot of their lineups defensively, much in the same way that Jane Crowder did last year, where they can switch more. He's long as hell. He's got a 7'2" wingspan. He's always been a good defender. He can hit threes. He doesn't try to do too much on offense. He's a great fit at the 4 next to Bam, and defensively, you can play the style of defense that you want to play, and were successful with last season. With Trevor Ariza. In the playoffs, you can't really do it with Kelly. He will get cooked, barbecued on the court going up against the Nets, the Celtics, Philly, Milwaukee. Any of the East top teams will hunt him every single time down the court. They'll put him in every ball screen, get him to switch out on the perimeter, and kill him.
The only salvation KO will have is that Duncan Robinson will be on the court, so they'll take turns switching and hunting his ass too. Want to thank A10 for the $5 dono. He said Depot would be a hell of a third option behind Bam and Jimmy Butler. My only concern with him is durability. He could be a poor man's Dwayne Wade in the Miami Machine. I agree. The only part I disagree with is that Depot would be the third option. Oladipo, if he's coming here, will be the second option on this team.
100%.
Bam would be the third option. That's just the reality of the situation. He's a more aggressive scorer than Bam. It has nothing to do with talent. It's all about mentality. Bam needs a score. Bam needs a scorer next to him. Oladipo's a scorer. It'll be beautiful. I'm sorry, Jonathan.
No, I was just gonna go ahead and get into this one. Depot's a top 5 guard defender. Where's the trade? I mean, I would love the trade. You know what I mean? Like to have somebody like Oladipo who can set up your driving kicks because he can attack the basket. Right? He's a decent rebounder. Like you were saying, he's probably a top 5, if not top 10 or guard defender in the league, and he'll take so much pressure off of Jimmy. Right? Because now Jimmy doesn't have to do these things. And imagine if we have a lineup there with Oladipo, Jimmy, Bam, Trevor Ariza, and then like Andre Iguodala. Like that's a lockdown lineup that can actually score a little bit too, because these are guys that are going to take it to the rim, draw fouls, will grind the pace down. What were you saying, Gary? We'll go into it.
I said you're not scoring on that lineup. You can deploy that lineup late in games and situationally, and they are getting stops. It's clamps with that lineup.
And we're going to draw a lot of fouls with that lineup too, because you have a couple guys that are going to take it to the rim over and over again. And with teams that move fast, like Brooklyn or, Philadelphia, that love to push it down the break, this is going to be a killer to them, because it's just going to be, we're going to slow down the pace. And that's why we were really on this win streak, because we were slowing down the pace for other teams to us. But now for this Pacers game and the Memphis game, we were playing catch up, right? We were always on the tail end trying to catch up to their pace instead of slowing it down to ours. But we do have another game with the Pacers coming up. What is it, Sunday? What do you guys feel like what do you feel like the Heat have to do differently to actually get the win on Sunday?
I think obviously you don't want them to shoot like 50-something% from 3, but this is similar to the Milwaukee situation that we had earlier in the year, where we lost by 47, I think it was.
Something like that.
Yeah. It was a disgusting game to watch. We were getting slapped from the get-go. This one wasn't getting slapped that early, but we got killed as the game went on. Mm-hmm. Pretty much, I don't care about X's and O's. Just show you have heart and compete, because this team gave up when they got punched in the mouth tonight. All I want to see is Miami Heat, quote-unquote, attitude, mentality, whatever the hell it is. I want to see that show up on Sunday before all these guys get traded.
I would like to see some X's and O's adjustment. Not necessarily. I mean, my first thought after watching tonight's game is we need to find a way to stop TJ McConnell. But if that's in your game plan, then you've already lost. So I believe what I just defensively, I think we need to do a better job of containing the ball. Like we did not do that well. They were getting to the paint at will, which is how they were able to get so many kick out threes. We just need to do a better job at the guard position of containing. I don't know if we have the skill level to do it consistently versus other teams, but I think against Indiana we should be able to contain TJ McConnell. Like that's just something that should not happen to us, because his Bam switching really hurts us on defensive rebounds because he's so far away from the basket. Absolutely. So I think that's another schematic thing that we can probably work out, but that involves playing Kelly a little bit less and deploying the Trevor Ariza, I guess, or KZ Akpal out there so that we can switch and recover a little bit better. Want to thank Richard Campbell before I move this along. Just one more time for the hero bit. I get that he's got more time, but you also get more in return for him than the others. That's the thing. I mean, I've never been a keep hero guy. So I'm not. I trade that motherfucker. I trade him.
As long as you're getting starter value, like everything is on the table.
Absolutely.
I don't even know if I need starter value for the way that brother playing. Once he shot that transition 3, bro, I was out.
Oh,
Bro. Like,
my
I
God.
was,
Oh my
I was
God.
out.
Who do you think you are?
Terrible.
He
keeps
never
doing
makes
it.
them.
He keeps doing it.
Royal and I both tweeted this at different times. I think Royal had it first. He never, ever makes them ever. It's ridiculous. It's
Bro,
so
listen.
stupid.
Every time he shoots it, you're going to see the exact same tweet from me, bro, because I tweet it every time he does it. It gets on my nerves. Ever since he made that one in Philly last year, he has never stopped shooting it, bro.
He hits 1 3-pointer and he swears he's hot. He has the fire ring around his name as he's walking. He thinks he has that green light to shoot, but I mean, it just don't make no sense.
You think he got the 2K
Brian, let's get
team
to you, man.
takeover when he
might
hit
really
one shot?
Exactly.
He might really be Dion Waiters. Oh man, how the mighty have fallen.
He has a little bit of Dion in him, a little bit of Dion Jr.
Dion without the
being
nose.
honest.
Wait,
Yeah, so
Oh no,
At
Brian.
least
I'll
for
let you-
All right, Royal, let's tell you, bro. I'll be right back.
All right.
for Sunday, yeah. So I think, like you mentioned, Royal, I would love to see more or them preventing dribble penetration, because it feels like you said, the guards got to the rim at will. I think that there's going to be a little bit of a regression to the mean as far as shooting goes. So I think that'll help a lot. I don't know that the offense itself is going to be much different, but I honestly think that natural regression to the mean is going to change a lot on Sunday. I mean, I don't know. For all I know, the Pacers make 53s or something crazy, but I think that on an average day, that Pacers off probably. I think the Heat defense is probably going to be able to stop the Pacers offense, and we should see a pretty decent win for the Heat.
All right, Ariel.
I kind of feel like from an X's and O's standpoint, if you're switching a lot versus the Pacers, you're probably more often than not actually going to be okay, because if you play drop, they have a lot of guards, Brogdon, LeVert, guys who can get not into the paint, but come off the screen, couple steps within the 3-point line, and they've got mid-range uppers, they've got floaters, they can kill you with that. Brogdon's really good at that. So I think, from a schematic standpoint, you switch a lot, you try to live with the matchups. You live with the mismatches. They're not a great 3-point shooting team. If they shot 50-something% from 3 on high volume tonight, numbers, math would tell you that it's unlikely that they'll do that again. So you would expect some negative regression to the mean on their end, some positive regression to the mean on the Heat's end. Hopefully they can make some shots after back-to-back terrible games, more or less offensively. And I think the Heat will be pissed, right? The Pacers, like Gad had mentioned, the Bucks game was very reminiscent of this one, in that they had the taste of playoff defeat in their mouths, and they came in and kicked the Heat in the teeth, and that kind of felt like what tonight was. So now that we got that out of the way, let's get this W.
All right. So moving on to that, what are you guys' predictions for the game? And I need predictions and scores. So Jonathan, we'll start with you.
I'm going to say the Pacers shooting comes back down to level, right? We don't blitz so much on people we shouldn't be blitzing on. Before we get on to that, thanks Carlos Morris for the $4.99 donation, saying Tyler's a turnstile on defense and he has regressed. Should have been packaged for Harden. I think we all agree. Looking back at the trade, Hero, Duncan, Precious, those guys are not even combined what Harden is, right? And shout out to HM for the $2 donor, saying, is there even a future fit for Precious in Miami?
No.
I don't know. I don't know,
thank you.
because he doesn't look like when we drafted him, we thought that he was going to be like the Bam backup. He was like the Bam clone, right? Not ended up being that. He's being like a tall Rodney Magruder that can't shoot. He's just scrappy. Right?
So good. He is the power forward Rodney. I love it.
Scrappy players are not going to last too long in the league, right? They're going to be the 14th or 15th guy. I don't feel like he has a place in Miami. But getting to Sunday's game, I do think we pull off a win. I think our defense is going to be a little bit better. I think we might see a little more Trevor Ariza. I think we hit some more of our open shots in the first half, and we don't do such a terrible job offense. I think we win 106-98.
Okay.
Sounds reasonable.
I just want to see the team show grit, play hard, whatever. It better damn translate to a win, though. Like, if you're playing hard against the Pacers, you better fucking win the game, because this is not a world-beating team. They shot like world beaters tonight, but they're a solid team. They're a decent NBA team, but they're not, like, unbelievable. Okay, so I would expect the Heat to win. I'll say they actually have a pretty decent night, like 112, say 112, 107. They win pretty convincingly. I want to see less 3-guard lineups, please, for the love of God. just start running more wings wherever the hell they are on this roster. I hope Iguodala plays. I hope Avery Bradley plays. Just do not run the Dragic, Duncan, Hero. If you're going to do it, put none for Dragic. Play Dragic less.
What point have we come to in the season where we're asking for none to be substituted in for his defense?
Bad.
Hey, man, that's
No,
how
it's
bad
bad.
Tyler and Goran have been playing. That's how fucking awesome they're playing.
Goran has been horrible defensively. Like Goran's defense has made me say that Tyler has not played the worst defense in the world, which he probably has.
Yeah, I mean, he's awful. I mean, both of them. I mean, but then you got Duncan too, so we can't leave him out of this horrendous defensive trio. Ariel,
Hey,
where
man,
are
his
you
gravity. His gravity.
So I already went through what I would do X's and O's wise for the next game. The only other adjustment I would probably make if I'm the Heat, and it's kind of sad that they have to do this, I feel like, but have Jimmy initiate more of the offense and bring the ball up the court more frequently because
more?
Yes, just for this game because when Goran and Nunn and Tyler are the guys bringing the ball up the court, Malcolm Brogdon and tonight TJ McConnell were absolutely harassing them, and they almost couldn't get past half court some of the time. That ball was getting stolen in the backcourt, repeatedly. So I would have Jimmy bring the ball up the court a little bit more just for this game. And Gad, you went 112, 107. I'm going to price his right you and go 113, 108 Heat win.
Brian.
So like I mentioned, I think that the Pacers are kind of due for a regression to the mean. I honestly see it being more of a low scoring game, maybe like 100 to 90, something like that. Like Ariel mentioned, I think that you probably do have to have Jimmy, handle the ball more because the turnovers were horrible. So I think that that's definitely going to be a key point. Like I mentioned, trying to prevent dribble penetration from the Pacers guards. But I honestly see this kind of looking like their previous games and being lower scoring. So that's kind of my prediction. Heat W.
I hope so. If we give up 120 plus in two straight games against the Pacers, I will break my laptop.
I almost did today.
So I usually predict that the Heat gonna blow people out, but I'm not gonna predict that this time. We're gonna get a modest 10-point win. 100.
None had 2 turnovers. 2.
Yeah, 100 to 90. I think TJ McConnell has the same game. I think Jimmy Butler does not. I believe Jimmy Butler comes out here and absolutely wrecks Indiana because he's pissed off about the way that they played tonight, and I think that's going to lead us to a victory. So, time to pay the bills. All right, so tonight, Ramlakan, you get Miami Grill, bro.
Oh, lovely, Miami Grill. I'm gonna tell a funny story about Miami Grill before we get into that. Right, I was watching. I can't remember which show I was watching on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. By the way, like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. That always helps us out, and it's free, right? So help us out. I was watching one of those videos, and I thought the ad at the beginning for Miami Grill was an ad that YouTube popped up, and I was like, "Wow, what are the odds that Miami Grill has a YouTube ad as well?" And then I realized it was the beginning. So totally about that. But let's get to this Miami Grill. We bring Miami to the table. If you're craving it, we're making it. We serve the best of everything from everywhere. Cheesesteaks, Greek gyros, chicken wings, everything in between. If you're always craving something from Miami. Order now. Miami Grill has the best food. It's always fresh. It's always hot. It never comes out to you cold. I know it's always suck when you go to a lame-ass chain restaurant and they bring you cold food. No, never going to have cold food at Miami Grill. They have the best wings, the best gyros, and they're going to have it right hot and ready for you. Miami Grill. We bring Miami to you.
Boo for Euros. Gyros.
D-Wade Euro step.
Right.
I appreciate you, Jonathan, for learning and saying it the right way.
Whatever.
Right?
Brian, you get prize picks tonight, brother.
Hey, Pride, do you have something to read?
No.
Yeah, okay. Go to prizepicks.com, use the promo code 5. Make your bets. Betting is fun. You can win a lot of money. We are living in tough times, but I think that it's always a good idea to kind of, if you have the knowledge in a particular field, put your money where your mouth is, and make some fun bets and see where it goes. You could use that code, like I said there. and they'll match your deposit by 100%. Cool.
That was a train wreck of a promo. I loved it though. Oh, also, I really love your hoodie. It is amazing. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Dear police, I am a white woman.
It's true. I gotta protect myself. You feel me?
Amazing.
I'm telling you. So, Gad, you're 21. You like to drink. Why don't you talk about Biscayne Bay Brewing?
Well, let's talk about Biscayne Bay Brewing. Listen, after a fucking train wreck of a game like the one that we had tonight, where we can't do anything and TJ McConnell looks like the NBA's reigning MVP and DPOY at once, you kind of want to have a drink. Maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5, maybe 12. Maybe get a 12 pack.
Not 7, not 8.
Not the amount of offensive rebounds Goran Dragic is allowing. But yeah, go to www.biscaynebaybrewing.com. If you don't want to go on the website, just go pretty much anywhere in Miami. If you're from South Florida, you can get it just about anywhere that you are. And this will help take the pain away of the Miami Heat shooting under 30% from 3 over the last maybe 3 games now. I definitely last 2 though. Yeah, just go ahead, have a few beers, have a lot of beers, have too many beers, because tonight was trash, and this will help take the pain away.
That's a dangerous line we're crossing.
I'm telling you.
Drink responsibly.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you. There we go. There we go. Ended right. So since me and Jonathan are the only 2 sitting in one and Jonathan already went, I guess I got Vertigear. So make sure you use the affiliate link for vertigear.com. It'll be in the description below, and check out some of their amazing premium gaming chairs. I'm sitting in the PL 1000. This chair is awesome. It is super comfortable. It's super roomy. It is extremely easy to build for anybody's name that's not Ethan J. Skolnick. Listen, if you're looking to be comfortable, you can use it as a work chair. You can use it as a gaming chair. The material that they use to build the chair is super comfortable. It doesn't get too hot or anything like that, but the chair is dope. Make sure you check out their affiliate link. They have a chair building tool that you can use to put in your height and weight, and they'll give you the custom chair for your body. So please make sure you check out vertigear.com and pick you up one of these amazing chairs. So let's talk about some of the shows that we have coming up. Ari, you didn't get to talk today, so you do. Well, you didn't get to talk just now, so you get to do shoot around.
Shoot around is a short 140-second or less clip that Gadiel Cartagena, to my left, I guess, on your screens, and I do together. We drop them game day mornings on the Twitter timeline, so you can always check my Twitter. You can see the handle under my beautiful face, or you can see the Gad's handle under his beautiful face. We'll basically update you on what's going on on Heat Twitter and with the Heat. We will probably ignore whatever happened tonight on the next one, just letting you know. And hopefully we'll have a trade to talk about by then. But if we don't, we'll talk about what we expect that night and whatnot. So just a little, an extra Heat vitamin to take as part of your daily vitamins in the morning.
Yeah, shout out to the Rothstein pool party for talking about the vitamins. Jonathan Ramlakan, tell them about what's happening in the world of combat sports.
Well, before we get into combat sports, we're going to continue on the Heat. We got the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's going to be out tomorrow. That's just going to be one more short recap, probably 10 minutes or less, just covering today's game, the good, the bad, the ugly, all your takeaways from this game. If you comment on the video and it's a comment that I didn't, or if it's something that I didn't talk about, I'll even put you on the video and we'll talk about it a little bit. So go ahead, check out the good, the bad, and the ugly tomorrow. That'll drop sometime midday. No really release time for that. But we also have walkouts and knockouts at 4 p.m. with Ariel and I. We're going to break down tomorrow's UFC event. Top contender. Dude's probably the next up-and-comer star. Kevin Holland likes to talk shit in the ring. He's fun to watch. We'll break it down. We'll give you some betting picks. We'll give you a parlay option, and we'll give you some fights to watch. The MMA world is growing right now. They have fights on TNT next month, ESPN, ESPN2, between UFC, Bellator is on Showtime, PFL, all these other things that probably have no fucking clue what I'm talking about. But before you're too late to the fight game, check it out. If you like watching dudes beat each other up, we'll talk about it tomorrow at 4.
Fabulous. And so I guess we got the clutch corner. I have no idea when the show is. I don't know how many times I have to do this for y'all to get the point. I don't know what day we're doing the clutch corner, probably until the day we're doing the clutch corner. So you guys be on the lookout there. Follow the clutch corner online. And
Damn.
this man's going to live forever. Clutch.
Thursday, clutch corner.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I guess clutch corner is going to be a part of the trade deadline special that we're having. Make sure you guys tune in for that. That's going to be from 1 until, I guess, but it's going to be Ethan, them, the Clutch Corner, some of the Skyforce guys are going to come. But Clutch, give us real quick wrap up of your thoughts on the game. Anything that you want to tell the people, and then we'll close it out after that.
The offense stinks, but we all knew that. The defense tried to hold its own in the first half, but the Pacers shot at what felt like a historic level. Felt like the Bucks game. They haven't played the Heat since the first round sweep, so I'm expecting the Heat to bounce back and win. But it doesn't change that the offense still stinks, and all these offensive players that the Heat supposedly have suck offensively. So something's got to give.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys in the comments for making the show infinitely more fun. Thank you to my guy Jonathan Robinson, Gadiel Cartagena, Brian Young, Ariel Latiz, and the man Clutch who came in at the buzzer. I'm your host, Roy A. Shepherd, and we'll see you guys on Sunday. Peace.